All right, welcome back. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We're back at it again. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to welcome a man of two powerful roles, publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com and High Chief Odokwetu of Ayedi Ogbese, Ondo State, representing Nigeria to the fullest. As you know, this is Independence Week. Welcome. Whether in the newsroom or the kingdom, he's always a sharp edge ahead, of course, so you can see the green is lit up the screen, right? Welcome to the show today. Again, it's good to have you, sir. Everybody, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun.
Thank you very much, Ola. Good to be back with you and all our fans all over the world. And I do not take it for granted that for me, this is a special moment. And why? Like I told you um, before we got on air, I said, life is wealth. And deliberately, um, I'm really picking on that expression, not just as a mark of honor to one of my, one of the, to the memory of a departed their mother in the Abitogun family. I had several mothers there other than my biological mother. And for people who cannot relate shamefully with the reality of the polygamous family setting in Africa, we do not hold them any explanation, and then we have no apologies for loving people dearly the way we ought to, just because of the way we were raised. So, Mama Emilola, and that name is always instructive to me, just the way the name of my own biological mother, Abike, was always so important to me. So why am I saying this? I'm still alive here today, and I rejoice with you that you are alive. And because we are alive, the prospects are limitless, they are boundless. So that's why full of smiles because few days back, I mean, even last week we were off air. So let us celebrate. It's worth being alive. And talking of being alive, Nigeria as a country has been alive for 65 years. Maybe in 2 days' time, we'll be talking of Nigeria as a country turning 65. Forget the fact that even at age 65, because if you are if you are measuring it by human years, the average age of a man or a woman, that's pretty much getting old. But in an oxymoronic way, Nigeria is 65 is a nation still crawling. But can you really say that that is something sad about Nigeria's reality? No, it is just about the paradox of life because even the United States of America, with all the long years of its independence in 1776, you find out that certain things are happening here and then you are saying, oh my gosh, the country is old. Why are they still struggling with getting it all together? And then part of that is the lunacy of um, a tyrant and wannabe dictator that is messing with the strong institutions of the country. So you find it in Nigeria, you find it in America, you find it everywhere. And no apologies because we know on purpose everybody is a target. They even threaten, oh, they will denaturalize you. So when you denaturalize people, are you saying they won't continue to live elsewhere in the world and probably better than the standard that so people will be pushing it in the face of all the people who do not have deep thoughts before they try to push the world the way of a roller coaster. Moving from there, please, while we congratulate the new, the latest king in town, His Majesty, the Olubadan of Ibadan, mark the word, His Majesty, because that's my own way of calling out Governor Sheyi Makinde of your state. On the paper that he has, the statute, the edict, that is the chieftaincy declaration, what you find there is that all these people are, they are they are saluted or they are given the title of highnesses, the making of white people. Yes, I agree with the former President Olusegun Obasanjo when he said, "You are royal majesties." I agree with that. But the word imperial is what I am really opposed to. I mean, if you want to contest, I mean, you want to contest that with me, you really want to argue that with me, just take your dictionary, go check out the meaning of imperialism. So if you are being called a moron or you are being called a thief, a common thief, because when you are so gluttonous and you want to covetous and you want to take things that do not belong to you, you are an imperialist. And that is why I object to that, because I know Oba Rashid Adewolu Ladoja is not a glutton, is not a greedy man. And that is why he, while in office as governor of Oyo State, was so constitutional the way he went about things. So we congratulate him. And please, maybe people should let go of Taye Currency, the musician that decided to that decided to pitch some disc. What do you call it? This the dissonance in terms of tune or choice of songs that he entertained the crowd with that day. I do not understand I mean, what really, but maybe it was the inspiration or the muse that got him singing We're Laughing, where people were thinking, oh, the coming of this new uh, royal father would would usher in a new dispensation in Oyo State. So please, people should let go of Taye Currency. Yes, he messed up big time, but tell me, like I'm even struggling to clear my throat here. We are all human, so we have our personal struggles. So we should let go of Taye Currency. And Taye Currency next time, if you are invited for a naming ceremony, don't begin to dish out a funeral dirge. If you are invited for housewarming, don't begin to sing as if there has been a war raid on the country. So what it means is that learn to have your proper cue. I mean, you are an experienced musician, and then you want to continue to make people to say, oh, maybe Kwamgong would have been better, maybe Obesere would have been a better choice, maybe King Sonny Ade, maybe Chief Ebenezer, but Taye Currency is a Taye Currency is Taye Currency. So let us enjoy that moment. After all, people like Mama Bolare were really up to the task at that occasion, and they sang very well, and other people there. It was a celebration of culture, tradition, and royalty at its best. And what is more, the honor done the new king with the presence of almost every who is who, not just in politics, in industry, and the social echelon of the world in which we live. I do not want to really minimize that audience to Nigeria, to Nigerians alone. That said, we move quickly to Ondo State, and now our focus mainly is Governor Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa. Mr. Governor, you can adjust your seat. You can try to focus on the camera. I want to talk to you heart to heart. I've only met you a few times in my life. One, when we were about making the past king, the immediate past king in Ayede Obese, through the interface of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, the new king, then incoming, and later as the substantive king. And I met with you. And we had a good opportunity of some heart-to-heart discussions. Period. Thereafter, you were going to be robbed of the opportunity of acting in place of the then indisposed governor, Arakuni Rotimi Akeredolu. Without you soliciting that, we knew it was wrong. The only precedence to that was the attempt at rubbishing former Vice President Goodluck Jonathan, later President Jonathan, from acting on behalf of the then indisposed President Umaru. Musa Yaradua. And Nigerians fought that battle the same way we all rose in one accord to make sure you were not denied your right as the deputy governor of Ondo State to take charge of things. People have said, if people talk to you, you may not, before Uncle, when I did not even say anything, you did not really, you did not act as if you are the governor, the elected governor, or the leader of Ondo State. And so what difference is it going to make if I talk to you now and then, if I call you tomorrow, you do not pick my calls? After all, in trying to get your view about this, I placed several calls to you, you did not pick. And so, with due respect, Mr. Governor, you are not doing well. The fact of your name that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of blessed memory used to tout that, oh, lucky, you are a man that will bring good luck. Oh, Orimiso, oh, good head or good fortune. And Ayedatiwa, now the world has become ours. You are not really answering truly to any of these names you were given at birth, sir. With due respect, Ondo State getting allocation, steady stream allocation of over 18 billion naira every month. There is no single project that you can point to in Ondo State that is worth 18,000 naira. 18 billion naira every month, excuse me? Do you know what that can achieve for the people? Education is not free. It is so bad that your attitude of of neglecting the people and the welfare of the state has now rubbed off on even public servants in the state. Talk of health sector, talk of education sector. In Subeb, Ondo State, what's it called? Universal Basic Education Board. People who have never been employed, prospective employees, applicants looking for jobs. Now civil servants are taxing them. Corruption openly on the parade, just because you, Mr. Governor, you are corrupt. And so, no civil servant is ashamed to be corrupt anymore. No civil servant, no politician is also afraid of committing fraud. This is what is openly on the parade. If you do not like it, sue me, and then we'll meet internationally. I have been declared a persona non grata by you and your co-actor, the supplanter, the the one who pretends to be like the royalty of Ayede Ogbese Kingdom at the moment, Olorifumi Oluyede, which is an element of the corruption that is in you, Mr. Governor. Because this woman, she's just an Olori. Tell me an Olori that behaves like that. And we are really careful so that people don't say, oh, this is male chauvinism. It is not male chauvinism. If somebody is behaving like a Jezebel on parade, we will say, this is a Jezebel on parade. This person, with your active encouragement and connivance, Mr. Governor, and a deranged judge of the state, stood in perversion of the chieftaincy declaration on Ayede Ogbese too. Now, the king-making process has been stalled. Ayede Ogbese king has joined the ancestors almost 3 years without you asking the generality of the chiefs and the people and the royal family in Ayede Ogbese. You got yourself involved in what you should not get involved in. Seizing the corpse of the late king, you did your show of an unapproved funeral for the late king, excluding the traditional council there. Nobody roast the corpse of a king, for meal or breakfast, but just to do him the honor of tradition and culture. You denied us that, and you invaded our community with all kinds of government power, which is what they used to deceive people like you as a governor. They make you feel like you are the chief security officer, you can command this and that, only to oppress the poor. But when it comes to real push in Nigeria, you know that the federal government would even suspend you pronto like they did in Rivers State, because you guys are paper tigers and you all are bullies. And because you have done it roughshod in Ayede Ogbese, denying the people the opportunity of having their own choice of who becomes the king. You usurp the entire thing with the usurper called herself Olori. Since the daughter whom she fought for to get on the throne became regent, she only spent 3 days in the community and ran. And I, for one, about this. Today, the community is ravaged by all kinds of stuff. So dirty, a place where the minister of the former minister of water resources, engineer Suleiman, came to flag off the national campaign against open defecation. People defecate openly everywhere now in Ayede. Refuse has really overtaken the entire place. It's an eyesore just because of you. You are not giving on the generality of those state people the good dividend of democracy that they should have. And you started experimenting with that fact from small communities like Ayede. And today, you have become a big problem for if you cannot really provide leadership. Governor Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, step down. By calling, I'm a journalist, and I must answer to the constitutional call as a journalist to strike something on your conscience. And if by age, Mr. Governor, at my age, if anything happens to me, there must always be a reason. And we won't be so cowed that we won't tell you the truth. We will tell you the truth to your face. You are not giving all those people good dividend, and you are pretending, because when you people want to do this, your game of corruption and fraud, you pretend as if riverine people are getting, on those South Senatorial districts are getting better deal. You are not even giving anything to them. And so look at the shape of Akure, the state capital today. Everywhere is a huge mess. When you see the way Akure streets are, when you see the way the streets of average community, the average community in those states, I'm wondering the quality of neatness, or what's it called, living standard that will be in your private living space. I hope that Ondo State government house today has not become some dunghill. You need to tidy up. We love you, and what we want of you is that you should prove yourself as being worthy this time around, because we all fought for you. Although you keep an enemy list. I haven't told you this now. Your commissioner of finance, who is the only person that is ruling with you, even members of your cabinet, they cannot even say they are real political appointees. Who runs a government like that? Who runs a government like that? And for the wimpy, spineless members of House of Assembly of Ondo State, I think you must answer to that duty of being able to exercise oversight over the shenanigans of this governor. He must account for every kobo of the money that has been appropriated that he got since he got there as the governor of Ondo State. Like I told you before, I have said this, whether I come to Nigeria or not, because the space is not safe. One imbecile, the imbecile that calls herself whatever, said if I come to Nigeria, I will be arrested immediately. I do not understand what that is supposed to.
Let's move on to Showoresa. You have one more special, right? Yeah.
Yes, that I will be arrested for saying that I was to be assassinated. Yes, you people try to assassinate me. So they have to present my corpse to my children and my family before it is believed that I was to be assassinated. Have people not been assassinated in Nigeria before? And everything I said you people were going to do, the reason for that outcry that you wanted to assassinate me is playing out before our very eyes. So meet me in court, please. And to our dear good friend, Omoyele Sowore, this struggle, we can all connect with your personal struggle against institutional failure in Nigeria, and which is what we have just spoken to concerning the situation in Ayede and the generality of Ondo State. So in court, they are finding ways. And I'm praying for Omoyele Sowore, because the way these people are really messing with him with all kinds of gags and allegations and what have you. In America, David Letterman, the former host of a CBS nightly show, came out to say that the egregious display of autocratic power and dictatorial tendency in taking off late night show for ABC was, nothing other than criminal conduct on the part of American presidency and government. Nobody went after him to arrest him. So somebody posted something that is covered by freedom of expression in Nigeria. And with everything that Nigeria is going through, what do we get? Court today, court tomorrow. Let the man go. And through Showore's situation, travails, and trials, I think there is an hope for the common man. Because what the judge practically has said, in this situation, after conscripting his international passport, what the judge has said in this situation is that until December 3rd, when the judge would have been back in office from vacation, from attending one seminar or the other, you see, putting justice, the hand of justice on hold to attend seminars and what's it called? And going on vacation. You see the way Nigeria operates, you see the way the world we live in, you see the way the world flows. When you are able to understand these simple things, these simple issues, you will know that we need to do more in terms of our social and political evolution to have a more stable situation. Our vituperations, our monologue, our report this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up the notifications so you're notified. I want to acknowledge my G, Marriott in the chat. Good to see you, Marriott. Without any further ado, we're going to move on to some other trendy stories around the world. Like I said, hit like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you're notified when we go live. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. Sadly, we have to bring this news to you. Arise News anchor Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu killed in Abuja robbery, as published by This Day newspaper, which I think they're also a part of the Arise News TV people. It says the Nigerian media industry is in mourning following the tragic death of Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu, a prominent news anchor, reporter, and producer with Arise News Channel. Maduagwu, fondly known as Somi by colleagues, was killed in the early hours of Monday during an armed robbery at her residence in the Kantape area of Abuja. The 29-year-old journalist was a respected and vibrant figure on Nigerian television, known for her warm on-screen presence. A statement released by Arise News Channel described her as a cherished member of the Arise News family, whose voice, and I quote, engaged and connected with our viewers. The Nigerian police have launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the attack, and Arise News is calling for a speedy investigation, apprehension, and prosecution of the culprits. Somi's voice is now silent, but her spirit, passion, and legacy will endure as part of our collective memory. The statement read, "The management and staff of Arise News have extended their deepest condolences to her parents, siblings, extended family, friends, and loved ones. Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu, who was a trained lawyer, was born on December 26, 1995. That's very, very sad.
Really? You see, are you reading further, or you?
No, that's it, sir. Go ahead and speak to that.
First of all, our sincere and utter sympathies to the immediate family of the murdered journalist. This is a victim, as I said, of armed robbery. in our residence is a Katampe in Abuja. I mean, this is such a somber situation. It's humbling and it's tragic, not just to our family, but it's a sad loss to our profession, that is journalism profession. I have never met her in person, and that is understandable. And but for the owners of This Day and Arise Television media group, we also share in their grief and in their sympathy. But this speaks to one thing. Um, we all live by the day. And the fact that we haven't fallen to the bullet of the assassin or an armed robber today in Nigeria does not mean that at some point that we could not be a potential victim. And this is the point that is often made, often emphasized by everybody that speaks to the fact that security of persons and the nation must be paramount to those that have been voted into political offices. And sadly enough, the passing of this journalist lawyer would be treated as if, as if it's a matter of statistics or a number. But this person, this reporter, was a human being just like you and I. And what we can do at this point is to make sure that the fact that our voice has been silenced by the assassin's bullet by a thoughtless and retarded criminal person or gang must also give vent to the need for us to keep that spirit alive, to make sure that even in death, our ghosts, our legacies continue to haunt those who must have initiated this disgraceful and tragic situation. That said, since the time of the murder of prominent investigative news reporter and editor in Nigeria, October 1986, the late Mr. Delegiwa, the state murder of people like Bagada Kato and others, it's been said that increasingly the Nigerian journalist is an endangered species. Not just the Nigerian journalist. Even look at in Israel and Gaza, what's been happening to journalists. More than 200 of us have been murdered since the conflict in the Middle East started. And then now, this promising professional has fallen. Sadly enough, it's avoidable. So all the huge votes, the budgetary allocations to fix Nigeria is the money that Nigeria is making, that everybody is using to score cheap political points all the time. How is that money really working for our system? Because it is enough for one person to be killed tragically, avoidably, to stoke the anger in all of us. But it's become a normal. Everybody is so numb, waiting for who will be the next victim. And that next victim, because as is often said poetically, never ask for whom the bell tolls. It could be for me. And so when are Nigerians really going to get so enraged, so moved, to the extent that they begin to demand answers and demand or hold people in high offices accountable? But can anybody really expect less in the circumstance? Can anybody really expect that, we can be guaranteed the safety that we need? Because even while alive, when people are saying, some people are hunting after them, some people want to get rid of them, some people want to kill them. Nigerian system, institutions, and everybody, they come together, they just dismiss such serious and present situations as if they are inconsequential. And at the end of the day, people go down every day. Whether you are talking of one chance kidnappings in Abuja, whether you are talking of this kind of a senseless armed robbery situation, they are the ones that are calling it armed robbery. Who knows? Who knows if it's actually armed robbery? Because I'm concerned when people just jump into conclusion this way. Who knows if it's other than that? Those of us who have gone through situations as professional journalists in Nigeria are the ones that should be left to continue to talk about, the seriousness and the danger faced every day in Nigeria, all over Africa, by professional, even all over the world, where journalists continue to get threatened by individuals who do not want to get exposed, whether for their non-transparent conduct in office or for their corrupt tendencies and all that. They will find a way of coming after journalists. They will want to demarket journalists, and ultimately they want journalists to be silenced through killings. This is just too much. It's so sad. I do not know what we can expect in the circumstance. Maybe there will be credible closure to this at some point. Who knows? Because even the police had his vehicle stolen in Abuja there at police headquarters. Police vehicle stolen by robbers. You see all kind of what's it called? Comic strips all over the internet about police officers or police on duty chaining their generating set to massive tree stock so that armed robbers will not steal those things away. About police people jokingly, police people approaching vigilante to come and give them protection. See the unraveling of a nation. And I have immense hope that Nigeria is not yet a failed state. We still can redeem so many things. But certainly, what will bring back the soul that has been lost in this kind of situation? Again, our sympathy to all of us Nigerians. We mourn with our immediate family and this day and Arise News media group. Thank you, Ola.
Thank you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Here's a voice of Somi Maduagwu, real quick.
Chidinma should actually be regarded as a South African. I don't believe that she has a Nigerian passport. I don't believe that she has any sort of Nigerian citizenship attributed to her. And so it should be two things. The pageant organization should have done their due diligence to ensure that she had the right to appear on their pageant.
Guys. That was the voice of Somi Maduagwu.
And you had her handling that report on the, you remember the beauty pageantry thing? The way she was handling that from, a completely human angle. Kind of. So, very brilliant mind. Lawyer, journalist, what a sad loss.
And this was a tweet from August 14th, sir.
Right.
From her, August 14th, she had a tweet on the X app. I pray for the depth of my heart that Nigeria never happens to me or anyone I care about.
Ironically, Nigeria has happened to her. May her soul find sweet repose.
Yeah, rest in peace on me. All right, everybody, join the conversations. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back. Again, do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Trump announces 100% tariff on foreign-made movies. More so, Trump versus Nollywood, we should call it, because I think Nollywood is the highest volume of movies made outside of the United States. So, but let me look. I'm going to read this report on CNN. It says President Donald Trump said in a Truth Social post on Monday he will be imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Trump did not specify when and how the tariff could be enacted. If Trump follows through with his threat, it would mark the first time he's essentially imposed a tariff on a service rather than a good. The president initially threatened a 100% tariff on foreign produced movies in May, arguing that other countries offer tax incentives that have drawn filmmakers abroad. In his post on Monday, he singled out California, saying the state has been particularly hard hit. The state, meanwhile, has proposed and put in effect many tax incentives, as have other American cities. Hollywood was completely caught off guard when Trump first previewed the tariff in May. On first blush, it's shocking and would represent a virtually complete halt of production, one industry insider told CNN at the time. But in reality, he has no jurisdiction to do this, and it's too complex to enforce. That's what I'm thinking. American. American.
Well, like an expert when it comes to things like this. I mean, you are a known quantity when it comes to the entertainment industry, even a pioneer, the Nigerian American highway there. So really,
hold on, sir.
So comprehensive enough to let you know that it may be a bluff, because that is characteristic of our man of history.
Yeah. Hold on, sir. So is it American actors and directors generally prefer to work close to home? But the fact is, it's cheaper for Hollywood studios to pay for everyone to get on planes, pay for hotels, because the cost of labor, lack of rebates, and the ability to make things overseas is infinitely cheaper. Jay Shores, vice president of United Talent Agencies, told CNN in May. Now, before we jump too far, a vice president predicts there will be a government shutdown as Trump signals is close to Gaza peace plan. That's some of the headlines. Another one says White House meeting on government shutdown yields no progress. Another one says Trump scores $21.5 million YouTube settlement over account suspension dispute. Anyway, what do you have to say about some of these headlines, sir?
Well, number one, let me quickly point out the fact that the so-called $21 million YouTube settlement.
24.5.
Yeah, 24.5. Technically, people will think, oh, it's some judicial victory. No, it's because when some accounts are taken down, the what's it called? Revenue accrual that should have gone to the owner of that account is often kept safely for them. It's the practice with Facebook. It's the practice everywhere. In fact, if your account is monetized and you have not been able to get, a proper handle on how the thing works, when eventually it works, whatever is being kept there for you as duly yours would always be paid to you ultimately. That said, let's take it from the fact of imposition of a tariff on movies. Well, you identified Nollywood as being the second largest movie industry in the world. I do not know if
there's something I want to tell you that might add context, sir.
Right.
So the CNN is saying movie ticket sales are down in the United States as the number of major releases hitting theaters has tumbled since the pandemic, and consumers have shifted their viewing habits to streaming platforms to watch at home. U.S. box office gross topped out at just under $12 billion in 2018 before nose diving to just over $2 billion in 2020. That's a lot. When many theaters were shut down because of COVID, although theaters have rebounded, the number of releases is about half of what it was in 2019. The total domestic box office gross hasn't eclipsed $9 billion since. So I just want to share that so that you can know where we're going here.
Number one, the layman economic implication of that is that Donald Trump's economic policy has really affected every individual, every pocket in the United States. What you are seeing there, the downward trend in the accruable revenue from movie theaters and what have you, is coming directly from the fact that Americans' purchasing power has been badly hit. That is badly hit. And really, when you look at the latest opinion polls on how Donald Trump is faring, he is underwater. He's underwater. Even on his immigration policy, his approval from the best of polling agencies, some of the best polling agencies, is in the is in the neighborhood of 30-something%. So he knows. And each time it looks like, oh, the reality is dawning that some group of Olodos are running the show in the United States. What they want to do is to bring out another trick from their bag and then just dangle something like they are busy. They are so busy doing nothing. Because honestly, if you are not somebody who is acting with the, with this disposition that, oh, I got the people's back, that you are just on a spray for vendetta and vengeance. And then just because, oh, an African American is the president, and then that tripped you, me too can be president. You get there without any workable plan. This would happen. This would happen. And even as you and I speak, the struggle is on. As you and I are on this production, on this show, leading democratic leaders have been invited to the White House, and they are having negotiation, partly with President Donald Trump as we speak. And this is how you would know that this guy is only impulsive and sometimes just want to, latch on to whatever comes to his mind. He's also, showing that aspect that well-known psychologists have hinted on. An adult, an old man that is trapped in the mind of a little child. And everybody gets into trouble because of that. So somebody who said a few days ago that, oh, they will allow for a situation in which the entire thing will unravel, no meeting with the Democrats, no meeting across the party line. Now, he's in panic mode already, but he will make a bold face about it because he can spin through anything. And people are out there because they said it long before now. He could stand in the middle of wherever in New York, Manhattan, shoot at somebody and nothing will happen. He gets away with everything. And so with that kind of crowd, they are not even able to relate with the fact that, oh, this man is toying with so much and is messing with so much and everything is really cascading around us all. They should hold him to account, but nobody is strong enough to want to do that. I think this negotiation that is going on with Chuck Schumer and Kim Jeffrey and all of them, the Democratic caucus and the leadership of the Congress, I think it should be able to really come up with something for all of us so that the system does not shut down. That said, something unprecedented is going on. More than 800 top military brass, 1-star generals to 4-star generals, are being pulled from their stations all over the globe. And according to economic experts, this in cost is going to add a multi-million dollar bill to the deficit that we already experienced in the United States. Talk of accommodation, and then they are wondering, why is he bringing all these top military brass under the same roof? The security implication. We cannot speculate too much around issues like this, other than to continue to point out that these are unusual times. These are unusual times. And whatever the results they were hoping to get, it's not really coming through. it's not really adding up. You see the leader of the so-called free world coming before the United Nations last week and then going off and insulting world leaders to their face. You see the same man saying, oh, he's been criticized by the president of Colombia. I am revoking his visa to come to the United States. It's almost like go it alone policy. Go it alone in trade, in tariff negotiations or impositions, which is needless in the first place. So that is what you get. But succinctly put, let's identify the fact that this imposition of 100% tariff on what's it called, movies, yes, could be, because I do not know if indeed Nollywood is bigger than Bollywood, the one from the movie industry in India. I do not know if it's bigger than that of.
It's one of the two. It's one of the two. They are not as big as Hollywood in revenue, but in volume wise, it's either number 2 or 3. It's one of the two.
Yeah, because the way the demographics I'm looking at, unfortunately, is this: the population that supports the industry in a place like India and China. Right. That's why because you also know that Nigerians have a way of exaggerating crowd and figures, just like Donald Trump. I mean, my crowd is bigger than yours, kind of thing. Yes, Nigeria. Yes, we have the population. I mean, over 60-something million Yoruba people, over maybe 50-something million Igbo people. I mean, and then there is no homogeneous outside population now in Nigeria, because what we know is that there are more than 300 nations fused together in the northern part of Nigeria. And all these demographics, yes, they appear that they can sustain that claim that Nollywood is the second largest. The second largest.
To your point, sir. Right. Nollywood is actually consumed all over the Caribbean and all around the world. But back to specifically what we're talking about in terms of production, Nigerians they're pushing out volume, not necessarily quality, but they're pushing out a lot more volume than probably Bollywood. In terms of consumption, you may be right. After assessing the consumption of Nigerian Nollywood movie in the Caribbean, they're still not. I don't think they're still as big as the Indian population, but that's just to add some context.
Yes, thank you very much. And when we relate amongst ourselves as a people of African descent, descent in the diaspora, you also see that we hardly bond with the mindset or the thought process of our our brothers all around us. Yeah, their mindset, their thinking. I mean, if you are telling them, "Oh, embrace the tradition and culture as people of African," they're looking at us, "What? Excuse me, what are you talking about?" And you just feel like, okay, we are not really bonding there. But that said,
sorry, I've confirmed it. By output, Nollywood is bigger than Hollywood, only by output, not by revenue.
That's right. Thank you very much. So that said, by implication, this war is coming home to everybody. Everybody is getting the breakfast. This could be a deliberate target at, okay, is this how Africa is going to rise again? Oh, so Africa is going to rise. This is an opportunity. Boom, let us give it to them there and shoot them there. And you can't expect anything better. You can't expect anything more rational from somebody who does not hide the fact that he is appealing to all those primordial, some dark age mentality about the person and the place of the African. May God help all of us. But whatever is dishing out to everybody around the world, understand that we also are drinking of the same tough cup in the United States here. Finally, maybe some vista of hope that, okay, we can't give up completely on Donald Trump. That announcement that, if Ukraine goes for it, they can always maybe win hands down against Russia. And Russia retorting, maybe he doesn't know, his position will change again and all that. The excitement in the air. But even today, he's put something on the table for Netanyahu in the White House, and everybody is expecting that there could be some peace deal. But he is also saying, Netanyahu is saying that it's either Hamas and Palestinians embrace the option of peace being offered or being pushed, being sponsored by Donald Trump, or they would do something the hard way. The hard way, is it a matter of total annihilation? What is anybody expecting? But I'm not one of those who will be saying that, oh, everything happening, this rumor of war and what have you, is really pointing in the fact that the world may soon come to an end. Not so fast. It's a rational thing to want to look at it, that the dynamics, the balancing of power, and the contending forces will even themselves out, and then maybe in our time we will have peace in this world. Thank you. Hello?
Amen. Sorry about that. I was doing amen. I was muted.
Okay.
All right, everybody, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Dangote crisis. TUC demands apology and rehire of sacked staff. There's a report here on Punch Nigeria talking about the Dangote groups and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, which has called on the management of the Dangote petrochemical refinery to publicly apologize and reinstate more than 800 workers dismissed over a unionization dispute. Speaking on Channels Television Sunrise Daily on Monday, TUC Secretary General Nuhu Toro said the refinery violated the constitutional rights of the sacked employees. And I quote, the Dangote and Pegasan rift concerns the TUC because of Pegasan is an affiliate of the TUC. And there is no way they can beat your child, and the father says aloof. Even the last meeting that was held on the 8th of September at the Ministry of Labor office, both Pegasan and the TUC were represented. We demand a reversal of the arbitrary dismissal of over 800 workers by Dangote. If that is done, the next thing that we demand is a public apology from the Dangote refinery management with an assurance that such won't be used against the union in the future, he said. His comments follow a nationwide strike declared by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and that paralyzed operations at key oil and gas regulatory institutions on Monday. The industrial action followed the weekend directive conveyed in a resolution signed by Pegasan General Secretary Lumumba Okubawa, wherein the union accused the Dangote refinery of violating Nigerian labor laws and International Labor Organization conventions by sacking workers for joining the union. In response, Dangote debunked dismissing workers en masse and accused the union of sabotage. But Toro said the core issue is workers' right to join the union of their choice, which he criticized the management for failing to address. In some of the commentaries flying around, Dangote has refused to address the substantial matter here, which is the violation of workers' rights to belong to any union of their choice. What Dangote simply did was to give us a bad name. The first thing he did was to violate the agreement we both signed arising from the previous intervention that no worker was going to be victimized. Unionization is a right, and the workers in Dangote have the right to belong to a union of their choice. In these circumstances, the workers have indicated that they want to belong to Pegasan, and they signed our forms. For Dangote to react, he has had to hide under the guise of sabotage, which is debatable in my opinion. Is that enough, sir, for you to speak to? It's a long one.
Yeah, relatively so. Right. Number one, the loquacious and talkative individuals at Pengersen and Nupeng hiding under skillful eloquence would expect. Are they really expecting that Mr. Aliko Dangote would come to their level trading banters the way I mean, unionists are known to be people who love aluta, the the Latin word for the struggle. They are known for that, and yeah, you really cannot match them when it comes to spitting out fire. When it comes to spitting fire, they spit fire, and so you don't think that Mr. Aliko Dangote will want to join. I mean, issues with them when it comes to verbal exchanges, because some of these people are verbal assassins. What comes out of their mouth is something else. Everybody was there. We have witnessed, and we spoke to the fact of this vulgar claim of having first class, second class upper before you can be hired to work in Nigeria's oil company and what have you. And what, ironically, came out of that, the anticlimax. I mean, what everybody expected was that, oh, since you always, hire 2-1 first class graduates to man these strategic companies or corporations belonging to Nigerian taxpayers, including people who made third class ordinary pass 2-2. What have you? Merit, credit, upper credit, lower credit, what have you? That from the polytechnics or the colleges of education. But we have seen the proof of the fact that it's not about your paper qualification, it's about your productivity. And considering how the 4 refineries owned by Nigerian taxpayers through their proxy, the government of the Federation, the way those refineries were run and grant, Dangote has brought good money, taking it from everywhere. See, my personal reservation or disagreement with Mr. Aliko Dangote on the fact that they don't extend advert patronage to small media organizations like ours does not count here. It must be applauded and be celebrated that everybody had written off African billionaires and investors on what they can offer the continent. It's done something exceptionally different and impressive. I think it should be celebrated. But what these people are doing is to deploy the forces of a mob and what have you. And the way people, mob
activists,
mob crime masters, the way they want to run people out, the Gambino way, the way they want to run people out of town unless you come and bow and scrape the floor before them. That is what they are trying to do to Aliko Dangote. And if you chronicle the dealings of the Nigerian government and its officials, let us separate the government of Nigeria, because even from some of the rankings of these Pengersen people, they said the money that Dangote used for doing the factory, for doing his refinery, came from proceeds of their works in the refinery, in NNPCL and what have you. What a crappy claim. Who talks like that? They are just throwing all kinds of cannons and blackmails at Dangote at the moment. But they were there. There were people, very wealthy Nigerians in the past, even up to today in Nigeria, that will not put any dime on the table to see that the country survived. Somebody has stepped forward, he has done it, and now all these Pengersen and Nupeng guys are belly aching. And you and I, we come from, some background where we were exposed to how private firms, how private companies will run, how private, you understand the point I'm making. So you want to come and work in somebody's factory, and then unionism becomes the big thing for you.
Right.
See, I don't want to dissipate too much energy on this, but let me say this. The issue of unionism in Nigeria is either of two ways. And it used to be compulsory before Babangida unbundled it all, when he was playing his divide and conquer or divide and rule politics or leadership with us in his years. Those were the times people like the renowned Caribbean or West Indies professor in Nigeria, Professor Patrick F. Wilmot, was in the country, when people like him and the then leader of ASU, the late Professor Festus Yayi, were accused of teaching what they were not paid to teach. That was, originally it was targeted at us students' union in the universities and higher institutions all over Nigeria, that we could not make it a matter of compulsion for all students to belong to the students' union. So the military government then decided that, oh, it's going to be a voluntary thing. And that is what has devolved on the larger Nigerian system. In the past, it used to be like that. But since they said, oh, it has to be, because I remember our checkups for the students' union while in the university would have to be paid alongside our tuition at the school's central bursary. And it, all the tuition we were to,
everything, all the fees.
Yes, on those State University, Ado-Ekiti, that I was at from 1989, used to be the most expensive state university in Nigeria. And so you have to pay those things, that money, that checkup for the students, alongside your tuition. And then the school's bursar, the bursary department will now make that deduction and make bulk payment to the students' union first. That was how students' union used to be run in those days. So because Babangida decided to enter into the campuses because of the massive way in which the anti-SAP riots in those days shook the government to his knees. Because of those things, he decided to make that pronouncement by military fiat that, oh, unionism had become a voluntary thing. So in this case, these people who are arguing the fact that, oh, by ILO, where is ILO when Nigerians have been suffering endless, fuel scarcity? Where is ILO there? Where were they? And so the point I'm making here is, let the process be guided. People who want to unionize, who want to be pengescent, if it's okay by Dangote, let them stay. If I am a private.
Does Dangote group of companies, do they have the right to dismiss 800 employees just because they join?
I do see. I do not know. The point I'm making here, I do not know. But I have worked with private newspaper companies in Nigeria, and there was no time. Yes, Nigerian Union of Journalists, we had our chapters and what have you, but there was no time. There was no point at which we ganged up to make sure that we frustrated or we sabotaged our employers, because the company. So everybody must be cool-headed here, because what I suspect here is the typical way in which the tyranny of.
Do you suspect ambush? Do you suspect ambush?
Yes, indeed. And I wrote an article for the open newspapers in those days. The tyranny of National Union Road Transport Workers, the way they would harass you at bus stations if you are dissatisfied with the toll or the fare they were charging you, and then you said, oh, you try to negotiate, the way they would descend on you and brutalize you. That was what led to that write-up I did, that article I did for the Hope newspapers in Akure in those days, the tyranny of road transport. Road transport workers. And what I suspect here is also the tyranny of Pengescent and Nupeng, Oil Workers Union. That is, this is their own tyranny. Everybody talks of what's it called? Fascism, tyranny, this and that. How about the tyranny of people who are not elected actors in the system, who want to hold the system to ransom at all times? This is what I suspect here.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everybody join the conversation in the chat, in the comments. Join the conversation. Hit like, share, subscribe, and follow. More importantly, please take the link to this video, take it to WhatsApp, and share with your friends. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the news. And if you keep coming back and you love what we're doing here, we believe that some of your loved ones, your friends, will also love what we're doing here. So please help us spread the word. Hopefully by next week we'll be back to some good connections so we can flow a lot more easier. All right, thank you so much for everything. That's it. That's this edition. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care and God bless.